Welcome to our webinar, Time for Faster Backups for IBM Power Systems, iSeries, AS400 System I, AIX, and Linux platforms. My name is Axe Signer, Vice President of Solutions here at Electronic Storage Corporation. Our company is located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are a software developer that has been in business for over 30 years. So here at our Tulsa office, we have our own programming staff and also our own technical support and customer service staff. Is it time for faster IBM I backups? Well, today is about finding out how to do that, shorten your backup windows, recover your data faster and easier, and manage your backups remotely. So being able to increase your backup speed will shorten up your backup window. Being able to recover the data a lot faster, not having to deal with tapes, specifically tapes that are off-site, stored for disaster recovery. Being able to have all your backups online and manage your backups completely as an automated process without having to change out tapes daily or on a weekly basis. So the key to achieving faster backup is to use virtual tape instead of manual tape. And there are also many additional benefits in doing so. So virtual tape, you're going to be saving to disk instead of physical tape. So write speed to disk in terms of saving data and also in terms of restoring data is quite a bit faster than manual tape. And we're going to go through all of those differences between manual tape and virtual tape in terms of speed, and also in terms of reducing the steps that it takes to manage your IBM I backups. Many of those steps require dealing with physical tape in order to load and unload tapes, whether you're dealing with a tape library or a single tape device in which tapes have to be changed out manually, and also managing tapes for disaster recovery, having to take tapes off-site, storing them at places where the fee for storing those tapes, such as Iron Mountain, but giving you the ability to save to disk is going to reduce a lot of those steps, eliminate a lot of those steps that you're currently dealing with in physical tape. Eliminate the delays and risks that come with manual tapes. So delays would be having to retrieve tapes, having to store tapes, and the risk of even a damaged tape is pretty great, or a lost tape or misplaced tape, or even mislabeled tape for that matter. Allows you to save your backups to disk, SAN, NAS, or deduplication appliance. This is where LaserVault is extremely beneficial in that you can use existing storage for your backups. You're not required to have proprietary appliance or a backup storage device that's specifically for the iSeries. In the case of LaserVault, you have lots of different options for storage. No limit on size of virtual tapes. So this means that if your current backup takes more than one tape, with LaserVault, your backup will always only take one tape because there is no size limit on the virtual tapes. Backup to cloud for another layer of redundancy. So we're going to talk about as well as the ability to save to disk, but also to replicate those backups so that you have a copy of the backup for disaster recovery. And cloud is one of those options. Easily integrate with BRMS, Robot Save, and other backup software commands. This means that an implementation of a virtual tape solution is really simple because to the iSeries is exactly like using tape. So with BRMS, nothing changes. Robot Save, exactly the same. And if you're using current iSeries backup commands or even Go Backup, which comes with the OS to run backups and scheduling, things like that, all of those operations can be used exactly the same way with virtual tape as you're currently using them with physical tape. So speed. We feel the need for speed, and you can tell the difference between the LTO up to LTO 8, which is rated at 360 megasecond, whereas a disk-to-disk backup solution such as LaserVault Vital, your backup speed can be up to 550 megaseconds. This is well over a terabyte per hour of save speed. So if you look at the comparison of what you're using today on any of these LTO versions, you'll see that there's a significant difference in speed between disk-to-disk backup with Vital and even LTO 8. So let's take a look at our virtual tape solution. First thing I'm going to go through is a very simple, easy to use web interface that I log into with my username and password. So you have secured access to all of your tapes that are stored virtually on disk. This web interface allows you to easily manage those tapes, create new tapes, set the configuration in which you want to or where you want to store those tapes. Let's take a look at the library configuration. So this being that this is in this particular option, I'm using this as a tape library to where I have tapes that are loaded and created in the tape library, a tape device that is here at the top labeled drive 1. So to the iSeries, this shows up as TAP MLB V1 and the tape device is TAP V1. So as you see to the iSeries, this looks just like a physical tape device. The iSeries would see tapes that are loaded into the tape library and be able to use those tapes in BRMS, Robot Save, just like physical tape. Or even if you just wanted to use a simple CL program to use this tape library to load and unload tapes for your backups. Being that this emulates a tape library, it has the auto load feature. So when a save is performed, the tape is automatically loaded into the drive. So let's take the BRMS example where the next expired tape that is in the list of tapes in BRMS, which is also in this inventory, it's going to automatically load the next expired tape into the drive and perform the save. If you're performing a restore, so whether you're Robot Save or BRMS, you select an object or library to restore, those products know which volume, tape volume, those are located, and that tape is automatically loaded and the restore is automatically performed. Now we look at the configuration of this tape library. We have several parameters here that can be set for different functions. The first being the name of the library, which typically could be the name of the system that you're connected to or the partition that the tape library is being used. This is the library path where I had mentioned before you can store backups to disk running on a server that LaserVault resides, or a SAN, NAS, or deduplication appliance. So this path instead could be to a SAN or NAS, whether it is a iSCSI path or a SMB share, to access that storage, in which in that case LaserVault is writing the backups to the storage. All the tapes are on that storage. So that means that you can use LaserVault as a gateway, and LaserVault is a Windows environment product, so that what you would have is either a Windows server that's connected to your iSeries fiber channel or SAS, just like an external tape device, and then you have that gateway server connected to your network storage, whether that's a fiber channel or fiber channel over Ethernet. And so you just simply set the path, give LaserVault access to that path in which it can store those backups. Now the software can also be in a VM environment, a Windows VM. Just note that in the server that's hosting the VM, you would need a PCIe slot for the fiber channel or SAS HBA that's used to connect to the iSeries. The software has an export feature. This is the export path. Anytime you would like to remove a tape from the tape library inventory, you can use the export feature to move that tape to the export path. And in this case, I'm actually using Microsoft Azure Cloud Storage for my export path. The LTO emulation, current LTO emulation level for LaserVault is Ultrium 5. Again, I want to note that there is no LTO 5 storage limit on any of the virtual tapes. So your backup, whether it's a full backup or whatever, will always fit just on one tape. The number of storage slots. This is how many tapes that you can add to the LaserVault tape library. And this number can go as high as 16,350 storage slots. And that's how many tapes you can have in the tape library. Mine is set to 48. You can always go here and increase the number of storage slots if you need more tapes. The software for speed. When we talk about backup speed, one of the features that the product has is that even though you're saving to one tape and there's no storage limit on that tape, the software can actually write the data to multiple files at the same time. And this is important for backup speed. The typical installation uses 8 data block files, so the data is spread out across 8 different files, and data is being written to those files as the save is being performed, which is going to increase your backup speed. It doesn't change anything on restores. The tape is loaded. We know where the data is on the files, and it's restored from whichever files that the data is located. But it's still just one tape. There's write cache and read cache. Those two. The write cache is for backup speed. This can go all the way to 24 meg, and the read cache also can go all the way to 24 meg, and that would be tweaking those numbers there in order to determine your fastest backup speed and your fastest restore speed. Compression and encryption, those are included with the product. Just check the boxes and those will initiate during the backup. Will not slow your backup speed. Compression averages 5:1. I've seen it as high as 10:1. Encryption is also checked, and an encryption passkey is provided for any time the data from any of those tapes needs to be restored. All the label file, I'll show you that in a minute. Diagnostic info, SCSI data, UBD mode, which I'll also discuss in a minute, and then load inventory at startup, which is typically checked. The software also includes the capability to replicate your backups. I have 3 different examples of replication: Network Path, Amazon S3 Cloud Storage, Microsoft Azure Cloud Storage. Let's take a look at Network Path. So this is the case where you have a couple of different options where you have a server that has disk storage running LaserVault, Windows 2019, and it has the storage, and you have a second LaserVault server at a DR site, and you want to replicate the backups from one server to the other. So you have a copy of both. You have a copy of tapes on both servers, so that in your DR site you can save and restore if you had to roll over to the DR site. Typically, in that case, the customer has a second iSeries at that location in which LaserVault is connected, and those tapes can be used to save and restore at the DR iSeries location. So this is the ability to replicate certain volumes. So any of your tapes that you want to replicate based on the volume prefix, which is up here at the top. So you can set to where you want to replicate your dailies, your weeklies, your monthlies based on that volume prefix. I have asterisk specified there. That means all volumes are going to be replicated. You can also set local retention based on age of the tapes or number of volumes. Now, local retention typically is handled with BRMS or Robot Save if you're using those products. So you don't have to enable local retention as well as remote retention. But remote retention gives you the ability to store tapes if you want at the remote location, whether it be cloud storage or a SAN or NAS that you're replicating to, or a second LaserVault server. Gives you the ability to set retention on those backups that are being replicated off-site based on age or based on number of volumes. Now remember that anything replicated, you can turn on compression. So compression will run as the backup is being processed and saved to disk compression, as well as encryption. And so the data will be replicated, compressed, and also encrypted if you have both options set. Amazon S3, just to give you a quick look, we've set the access key ID, secret access key, and the bucket name for my Amazon S3. In this case, I'm replicating to the cloud storage copies of those tapes. So you'll have those tape copies stored there that you can access through your Amazon S3 interface and be able to bring those files back into LaserVault in order to restore from those tapes. And then we have a third example, Microsoft Azure. And we have the cloud storage properties set for Microsoft Azure in order to replicate. Now you can actually do both replications. You could do a network replication where you're replicating from one site to the other, and you could also do cloud storage. You could do certain volumes to cloud storage, maybe long-term volumes where you have a monthly save that you have to store for X number of months or years, or an annual save or a quarterly save. You can certainly replicate those to cloud storage if you wanted to, but you can set which volumes that you want to replicate to which location based on the volume prefix. All of your replication jobs are listed here, whether they have completed or they are currently in process. Some of the features here is that you can manually move a tape into the drive. So with this solution, whether you're using this as a tape device or a tape library, you can perform full system restricted state saves, and you can also perform an alternate or a D-mode IPL using LaserVault as the alternate IPL device. So you can perform a bare metal restore with LaserVault, restoring the operating system, licensed internal code, and all of your user libraries, system configuration, IFS, everything that you've saved to a full system save. As administrator, I can delete tapes, export tapes, again, moving export tapes to this path. If you have exported any tapes from the inventory, those will be listed here, and you can check the one that you want to bring back and import it. So in this case, my export path is actually cloud storage. So this is the tape that I have stored in cloud storage. Importing that brings that tape from cloud storage back into inventory. Protect the tape. That means the tape cannot be deleted, initialized, or written over if you protect the tape. There's also a command on the iSeries that we provide to do that. Labels. This is a cool little feature where you can click on you can have a quick look at what's on the tape in terms of which libraries. Also shows you the size of those libraries and how much space they're taking up on disk, and also the sequence of those libraries as they were saved. That data, of course, is stored in BRMS, Robot Save, and you would use that to select which files you want to restore, and it would automatically load the tape. Creating tapes is here. Click this button, put a volume prefix for your tapes, create multiple tapes. You can go ahead and initialize those tapes by checking this box. This is the next slot that's available, and this is how many tapes or how many slots. This is how many slots left in order to create tapes. Again, you can go up to 16,300 plus tape slots per tape library. So it's really simple to set the system up. Configuration of where your backups are to be stored, an export path if you're going to use that feature, create your tapes into the tape library, add them into BRMS, Robot Save, and you're ready to go. It's really that simple in order to go from physical tape to virtual tape, because you're running the exact same backup process. You're just adding new tapes, and for this tape library that are easily accessible through this interface. Now, library 2 is meaning that you can use the LaserVault as a tape device instead of a tape library. So if you're not currently using BRMS, Robot Save, and you're not coming from a physical tape library, but you're using standalone tape devices, you may use the product in this mode, meaning that you would use it as a tape device instead of a tape library. We have a command on the iSeries to create a new tape, which would create the tape, giving it a serial number name here under serial, and it initializes that tape, loads it in the drive, and you're ready to run your backup. So in addition to running your backup, you may run that create tape command on the iSeries to create a tape, initialize it, load it into the drive, and then the rest of your backup process runs after that. So you could either run that separately just before your backup, or you can run it as part of your backup if you have a CL program that you're using. We also have a load tape command on the iSeries to load the tape into the drive. You could create a list of tapes in the inventory of this and load a tape for the next backup, for the next daily, weekly, or monthly backup with the load tape command. You could load that tape and you could, if you're not appending to it, which you can append to tapes, but if you're not appending to it, you can just load that tape for that daily backup that you want to use and save to it, and then that would be a new save to that tape. Of course, the modified date would change. The software also shows the physical size and the logical size of the tape, showing the compression at 9.6. Again, I've seen compression as high as 10 to 1. I would say average is 5 to 1, depending on how much IFS data that you're saving, such as document images, PDFs, things that are typically already compressed. Now, LaserVault as a tape device shows up on my system as TAP-V2 here. Create tape, UBD. So the tape device TAP-V2, the name of the tape. So example there as a tape name. So this gives me the ability to create the tape, initialize it, loads it in the drive, and you're ready to do your save. So this is create tape UBD. If you're using that, you would create a new tape each day. You could set a retention on those tapes. So you could set a retention on tapes for the number of volumes that you want to keep, like the 10 most recent, the 15 most recent, or how many days you want to store those volumes using the retention feature in LaserVault. Load tape UBD. This is where you can load a tape, put the name of the tape in here. If you want to use that tape for the restore. If you wanted to use this tape for a save, you could initialize it, or you could simply just write over it. So that gives you the load tape capability. You can also do protect tape. Protect tape would allow you to put the protect feature on there to where it cannot be deleted. And there's an unprotect also. So that makes the product really simple to set up and create your tapes, set up your backup procedures. Since you're not having to, if you're working remotely, your IT staff is working remotely, you're coming in weekly basis to change out tapes. This is going to eliminate that procedure and having to deal with those physical tapes. So I'd say the two main things that folks are wanting to accomplish is backup speed, because it's a lot faster than tape, and having to deal with physical tapes. So the time and the money that's needed in order to manage physical tapes is much higher than simply storing to disk, because you have a virtually unlimited inventory of tapes that you can work with automatically without having to have any intervention of physical tape. Oops. Go down to the next slide. Okay, so let's talk about the VTL connections to the iSeries being SAS or fiber channel, where you have a backup appliance. This is the Vital backup appliance. So this is using LaserVault as a tape library, VTL virtual tape library, that you have a Windows server, you have the disk storage on that server, you're running compression, encryption, the ability to replicate to a DR appliance, a LaserVault Vital DR appliance. Now, one thing to note is we do offer this as a software only option. So a perpetual license of the software on the hardware of your choice, whether it's an existing server or you would like to purchase a new server from the vendor that you typically purchase from, Dell, HP, Lenovo, whatever the case might be. Also want to point out the ability to copy to tape. Now, if you want, you can copy to tape from LaserVault to your IBM tape device. So that would be a dupe tape feature or a dupe media BRM. I know Robot has a duplicate media feature as well, to where you can copy virtual tape to physical tape. If you connect a tape device to LaserVault, you can do a tape out. There's a tape out utility program we have, and that would make a tape that you can use to restore on an IBM tape drive that's connected to your iSeries. So a couple of different things that you can do to replicate your backups: dupe tape, tape out, replicate to a DR appliance in which you have LaserVault installed, connected to a second iSeries, replicate to cloud, replicate to from one SAN or NAS to another. So you all have all these different options to create copies of your backups for disaster recovery. 2 copies of your backups is always better than 1, and with tape you only have 1 copy. NPIV is supported. This is important if you're backing up multiple partitions and you would like to present a tape library with multiple tape drives for each of those partitions to use. With NPIV, that means you can set up multiple ports that can be used as tape devices to a single fiber channel or SAS port. So with one fiber channel port, say it's 16 gig in LaserVault, you can present up to 15 tape devices. You can define that as one tape library with 15 drives, or you can set that up as 2 libraries, one with 7, one with 8. However you'd like to divide those 2 libraries up with the number of tapes, or you can have 15 tape libraries, each with their own tape device. Just depends on how you're currently using your physical tape. You can use LaserVault in the exact same configuration in terms of how many tape libraries that you need and how many tape devices. One LaserVault server can have 12 16 gig fiber channel ports, and that is 15 devices per 16 gig port. And NPIV also works with 8 gig fiber channel as well. Okay, so this would be using LaserVault as a UBD solution, where you're using it as a tape device instead of a tape library. You can automatically load a tape, create a tape, initialize a tape. Your backups will be automated. Never have to deal with physical tape again. Some of you might be interested in copying tapes that you have to store for a long period of time. That's certainly an option with dupe tape. Tape out is available in UBD. Dupe tape is available with UBD on the iSeries to copy from UBD to a physical tape. And again, your connection to the iSeries is fiber channel or SAS. And then you can also use SAN, NAS, deduplication appliance as your storage for your backups. So in the case of NPIV, where you have multiple fiber channel connections that need to be presented to the iSeries, you may use a fiber channel switch in order to zone the worldwide port names of those physical and virtual ports on LaserVault and present those ports to the iSeries, which is then going to give the iSeries the number of tape drives and tape libraries that are needed to back up multiple partitions. So in this case, your iSeries, you may be running a VIOS where you have a fiber channel HBA and the VIOS server that's presented to your partitions through VIOS, and then you're able to also present tape devices using NPIV with LaserVault in order to define multiple devices per physical LaserVault port. So we would love to do an online demo with you. We'd like to learn about your current backup environment, how many partitions that you're currently saving, what your disaster recovery solution would like to look, what you would like to look like in terms of having copies of your tapes being made offsite, cloud, tape, the amount of data that you're saving, discuss any storage options that you currently have or that you're looking at. We have a lot of clients that use deduplication appliances for their storage because they're using it for other platforms in their backup plans. answer your questions about how LaserVault or LaserVault Vital or UBD mode would best fit into your backup environment. And the great thing is you get a $25 Uber Eats gift card upon completing the demo that we send to you via email. So just to recap, you can quickly and easily speed up your backups, saving time and money over using manual tape. Also want to note, we've been talking about save speed. Restore speed is also very fast. Your restore speed can be as fast as your save speed. So if your save speed is 500 megasecond, your restore speed is going to be very close to that as well. So really a lot of that you're eliminating is reading from disk is a lot faster than tape. Tape is having to, constantly fast forward and rewind through the tape in order to locate the data. LaserVault knows exactly where the data is and can go, and the restore would start immediately because we know where the data is located on the tape files. It'll go right there and start the restore immediately. We do have a cost of tape worksheet that we can send you, so they would show you a very quick return on investment of comparing disk to your current tape environment. So recovering your data faster, being able to have all your tapes online. No tapes are off-site that you have to go and get retrieved before you can perform a restore, and restore speed is much faster than tape. And you have copies of your tapes that you can recover in case of disaster, where you would need those tapes in order to perform a full system restore or just restoring user libraries, things like that. Remote management, while improving your overall data protection, the ability to encrypt your backups, compress your backups, which should save disk space. Encrypt your backups mean that they're secure. Being able to copy your backups and having access to all your tapes online directly from where you might be working remotely and managing those tapes remotely, where you don't have to go on site and deal with tapes, and you're just having the ability to perform those operations completely automated. There are some technical specification documents in the GoToMeeting control panel. Those are PDFs that you can go ahead and download those documents. Whether you're using a tape library, you would be looking at the Vital solution. If you're using tape devices, then you would looking at Vital in the UBD mode solution of the LaserVault capabilities. Email us at info@laservault.com. You can reach me directly at that extension if you have some questions or would like to set up a demo. We do appreciate your time. We will be doing a giveaway of a Bose Bluetooth SoundLink portable speaker. So the winner of that will be notified via email. And also, we'd love to be able to provide you any kind of pricing information, whether you're looking for a turnkey solution with hardware and software, or you have hardware that you would like to purchase on your own or provide, or even a VM scenario where you have a PCIe slot available in a server. You can spin up a Windows Server VM, install that HBA card, connect it to the iSeries, and you've got a new tape device that you can start saving disk day one. And that's the kind of success we've had with this solution, where the day we get the product installed, we get the tape device available, create the tapes, make any changes to BRMS or robot. Many times you'll be making your first save to disk that first night for your nightly save. Okay, thanks very much for your time, and please let us know if there's anything we can help you with in your iSeries backup scenarios. Thank you very much. Have a great day.